let's go ahead. Let's move on now to the third place team, which was a bit of a shock after our preseason predictions, and that is the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
But before we get into the Green Bay Packers, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so Tyler and I can let you know whenever we post new content. Okay. This was a shocking season, I think, for Green Bay fans. I think as long as they felt Aaron Rodgers was under center, that they would be just an elite offense. And they were pretty much average across the board last year. Points per game, almost 22, which was 14th in the NFL. Points per game allowed, actually the exact same at almost 22, which was 17th in defense. And so they were just an average team last year, which is kind of crazy to think about an Aaron Rodgers-led team. But then you look, they traded Devontae Adams. Who's the left tackle?
David Bakhtiari.
Yeah, David Bakhtiari was out for most of the season. And so I just think they didn't have enough to really compete, especially when you're in a division with a couple high-powered offenses in the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. Well, Aaron Rodgers was banged up a little bit this year. He did have the broken thumb on his throwing hand, and that's definitely going to play a factor into it. But it's interesting to put on how much do you want to put on Aaron Rodgers, because there was this growing period where these rookie receivers and younger receivers had to kind of get adjusted to the NFL speed. And yes, it is still Aaron Rodgers, so he needs to step it up if he wants to have that greatness aspect to him. Because, I mean, how many times you could list off the amount of seasons that Tom Brady didn't really have elite receivers, and, well, they did perfectly fine,
Seasons,
but
actually.
Yeah. But then at the same time, though, if you look at the organization, the GM, they definitely did not. They, I think, overestimated, what second round, third round receivers, rookie receivers can do. And so it definitely took some time. I think they hit on some of those. Like Christian Watson, I think is going to be a great receiver.
Actually, I really like Romeo Doubs, too. He, at times, looked better than Christian Watson.
Yeah, he definitely was, I think, more consistent throughout the entire season when they played. But I think it's going to be good. I also think that it is a as well clear indicator that it is a regime shift. I think is about to come. I think Aaron Rodgers' time is done. Also, too, they are, as of right now, and I need to double check the numbers, but I have them as negative cap at just $4 million. But that being said, though, if they trade him with a designated post June 1st,
I have negative 4.5.
Okay. If they trade him with the designation of post June 1st to whichever team, they can get draft picks and also clear up, I think it's $15 million in cap space. So close to $16 million.
Yeah.
And I think that is what they'll end up doing. I think it is just, he's been there a perfect amount of time. It has not worked out. And I know it's a super small sample size, but they drafted Jordan Love in the first round for a reason back in 2020. I think it's time. And a little bit we saw with the Eagles game, he looked very polished. Just super small sample size, I know, but still.
Yeah, I agree. I liked what I saw from Jordan Love. I actually liked a little bit of what I saw from him in the Chiefs game last season, in 2021, when he had to play the whole game for against the Chiefs. So I think that's a good thing for the offense. My big thing that I was kind of disappointed with was this defense. I thought this defense was going to come in and be a top 10 defense in the league.
Yeah.
They already had Jair Alexander. They were a top 10 defense in 2021. And then you go add Devontae Wyatt and who's the other Georgia linebacker, the big one?
Quay Walker.
Yeah, Quay Walker.
The guy that pushed him.
Yeah, the guy that pushed the athletic trainer. And so for me, it's like I look at this defense and I just instantly think like, oh, they're going to be so much better than they already were as a top 10 defense. And then they underperform and they're they're 17th, like slightly below average in the NFL. And I think that kind of really let this Packers team down as well. So
yeah. What was their overall rankings again on their team defensive stats? Because you are right. They definitely were worse. Yeah,
so they were 17th. They were tied for 17th with 21.8 points allowed. And then they were 14th on offense with 21.8 points scored a game. So they were -1 on the turnover margin all year. So,
okay. Yeah, it's going to be interesting too because outside of let's see here, Jair Alexander, all their other secondary PFF grades were not really that great. Brazil Douglas was 30th out of all the qualified cornerbacks, and Rudy Ford, who was a free agent, was also 30th out of all the qualifying safeties, so just a little bit above average. But everyone else did not really do that great. Eric Stokes did not have a good season. He only played 9 games. So it makes it very interesting, too, because when you come to the draft as well, they're sitting in a very interesting spot. And I've always thought to go towards offense for them, like go get a tight end, because Robert Tonyan, I think, is just a so-so tight end. I think you can go get Michael Mayer, who could be great, I think, for the type of offense that they have. Dalton Kincaid, I think, could match the speed as well. Jackson Smith and Jigba's there. But then a guy I really started thinking about as well, I think would really help with the secondary, is, Brian Branch. That's going to be about the spot, I think, where he falls. Kyle Hamilton went around there last year, and I think he could be that gadget guy.
That could take this defense to the next level.
I think so.
I wouldn't call him a gadget guy. He's more of the Swiss Army knife. Yeah,
gadget's not the best. Swiss Army gadget. How about that?
Yeah.
No, it's just an absolute elite athlete that you can go put him, I think, at different spots on the defense, and he's going to absolutely excel.
Yeah. So there are a couple other things that I wanted to point out. This offseason, so David Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones are due $10.1 million and $7.4 million. That's what they're doing on the cap hit. If they get cut, they would regain that in cap space as well. And I think it would be smart to do that. And then you could go out, you could sign more pieces, maybe get another right tackle in the building, like Mike McGlinchey from San Francisco, and Caleb McGarry from the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. So I will say to that, though, I've seen reports, it looks like Aaron Jones and the Packers are talking about
maybe restructuring.
A restructure.
Yeah.
And so not that I disagree with you on that, I'm just saying those are the reports. With Bakhtiari, though, if you do move from Aaron Rodgers, now you're going to have your I don't want to say essentially, like, you're going to have your quarterback who's not a rookie, but it's going to be his first year starting. Yeah. You're going to want to make that offensive line and as
well. That's what I was going to say. I think they're picking at 12. No, Houston's at 12. They're 11.
No, they're 14th.
No, the Patriots are 14th.
15th then. They're 15th.
Okay. That, I think, is right around the range of where the left tackles are going to go. Like 10 to 15. I think you have Skoronski, Paris Johnson, and Broderick Jones from Georgia. I think those 3 guys are going to be right in that range. If they want to cut Bakhtiari, I think it would be $7.4 million. Or no, it's 10.1 for Bakhtiari if they cut him. If they want to save that cap space, go get a first-round left tackle. Have that guy there for the next 5 to 10 years for your young quarterback, and then maybe use the extra cap space to sign a guard or 2 to help beef up that offensive line even further.
Yeah.
That, to me, I think makes sense. I also think it would make sense to keep David Bakhtiari. He's a proven veteran in your system that can protect the blind side. So I think that's interesting. The only 2 key free agents I really had for them was Allen Lazard and Jarran Reed. And with their cap space situation, and especially in Allen Lazard's case, their newly acquired wide receivers in Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. I think if they address that position again in the draft, I think Allen Lazard is a surefire leave. So
I also think too with the market as well. We've talked about this with Jacoby Myers. I would put Allen Lazard kind of also in that Jacoby Myers tier of quality receiver, and I think that he could probably go make a little bit extra somewhere else. We just talked about the Bears. I think he could go over to the Bears because they have the extra money. I think that would be a good veteran piece, I think, to go in there if they don't want to go to Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, no, I agree. Their draft capital-wise is a little bit crazy, okay? So they have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 7s.
That is how you do it.
They have 3 projected compensatory picks in the 7th round. So That's a little crazy.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that? We're talking about all these free agents. Those are roster fillers right there. You just go fill every single one. And, hey, maybe one of these guys will hit.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I kind of like what the Packers have going on. They could also add to that with an Aaron Rodgers trade. They could add another first, maybe a second and a third for Aaron Rodgers, just kind of depending on what the market's feeling for him.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they have going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun seeing this Packers offseason, especially with everything going on with Aaron Rodgers. Similar to some of these other teams, it's like once they make that decision, then I think a lot of other things will start to fall in place. So